Watson, you know, and a lot of Lou Rockwell picked it up. A lot of other sites picked it up. We're thankful. Everybody needs to get Watson's press release. He's going to put back out today and get it and send it to everyone. And, Paul, you should add, like I said, you know, just some news blurbs like, you know, where the scientist said it causes cancer, and then the cancer clusters, and then, you know, Boston Herald or Boston Globe. I know it was in both, or you know, Associated Press. So just hand that out, and then the website URL or a QR code. We'll add that later to the flyer so people can go check it and find out we're not lying. And plus, the TSA agents are rebelling and saying they can't even find people dumb enough now to be around the machines. And we knew that was the breaking point. They couldn't find people evil or dumb enough to live in the microwave ovens all day. And so that's why they're starting to pull them out. And if we beat them on this, we beat them on everything. If you let one ant stand up, they might all stand up. You know about that. Okay? And we're at the tipping point right now. That's why the enemy is throwing everything at us right now. We're going to win if you put out an effort. And so, again, he also has some breaking news. Big breaking news. We conducted a national poll. That will be out in about 45 minutes into the hour, here in about 30 minutes. We had to get approval. Yeah, that's how you do it from Harris. From these big polling agencies, they have to see how you present their polling data. They certify you presented it right. We've been green-lighted, and I'm sure this will be a Drudge plump at the Mighty Drudge Report, because it is breaking news. Wait till you hear this breaking news. All right, Paul, I'm chomping at the bit. My friend, host of InfoWars Nightly News, great researcher, all-star info warrior. I know you don't like to be praised, but you are absolutely awesome, just like McBreen and others. The whole crew is just incredible. Paul, tell us about the opt-out film day, and then give us a little forte of what's coming up in the big news release.
Well, the URL is infowars.com/opt-out. And what this is it's designed to be part of what you've talked about many times before, which is a new civil rights movement for the 21st century. Because, you know, we keep hearing people talk about this fiscal cliff, when in fact we've already fallen off the freedom cliff, and we're already desperately trying to inflate our parachute because most of our freedoms are gone. And if we don't take a stand now, they're all going to be gone. That's going to be the end of it. You know, it's like that Reagan speech where he said, a time for choosing. You know, if we lose freedom here, there's no place to run to. America's the last stand on earth. If it goes there, it goes everywhere. So it's November 19 to 26. That's the week when we're asking everybody who cares about their freedom, who is traveling, or even if they're not traveling, as he said, they can hand out the flyers. There's already one flyer up there. We're going to make more. And rather than being part of the problem, they can be part of the solution in making a stand for dignity. Because if we don't stop this now, and this poll emphasizes the fact, it's going to be a very dark place in 5-10 years' time. Because, Alex, 30% or about a third of American adults would probably willingly march into a concentration camp with a smile on their face. That's how bad it's got. I mean,
tell people briefly about the Harris poll.
Well, we asked people, it was all based off this South Park episode that gave me the idea, because they satirized it as, you know, would the TSA next be in restrooms conducting anal probes of people visiting restaurants?
Let me look inside you, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a big joke, and I put it out as a satire piece on YouTube, and a lot of people believed that it was an actual news story that the TSA...
And said they wanted to be probed, yes.
Yeah, so that completely shocked me. So it gave us the idea for the poll. So basically, we commissioned a poll with Harris, and they asked over 2,000 Americans 5 questions about the TSA, one of which was, would you be willing to undergo a TSA body cavity search in order to fly? Now, bear in mind, a body cavity search is the very worst intrusive search. They do it to dangerous prisoners going into jail. And I'm not going to explain the details because it's disgusting.
Yeah, they only do it in high security generally, and up to maximum. You only get it going into lower security, because I went and looked it up, when you're first being brought into your prison term. It is unbelievable. So one third of Americans would be willing to undergo a body cavity search in order to fly. So they'd be willing to go into a back room or even in public with a TSA agent, have them perform that duty
in order to fly. 1/3 of Americans. I thought it'd be about 10% max. It's 30%.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, do you remember when you had the idea a few weeks ago to do the poll? I said I bet 30%, and we had an argument about that. Do you remember me saying 30% will go for it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought 10% max. It's
well, you know
crazy.
why? It's always 30%. 30% is just always will do anything they're told. They just love it.
But it gets even worse, because then we asked if it was reasonable or unreasonable for anybody to have to obey a law, obey a command given by a TSA agent, not only in an airport, but any public place. So this basically makes a TSA agent God. He can tell you to wash his car if he wants to obey any command given by a TSA agent. Is that reasonable or unreasonable to pass a law to make that the case? 57% of Americans said it was completely or somewhat reasonable that TSA agents should be given the power to have Americans obey their every command. So
and that's only 2 of the questions, though. You've got 4 more little juicies, including taser bracelets.
Oh, yeah, even more Americans, 35%, would be willing to accept a taser bracelet, which would give them an electric shock performed by a TSA agent or an airline staff member if they were accused of being a terrorist to incapacitate them. 35% would accept that.
And obviously you're going to have an addendum article under it showing they really are planning the tasers and stuff, right? Or is that in your article?
That's in the article, yeah.
Okay. For more than 6 years, I've talked on the air about creating a social network. PlanetInfoWars.com is in its beta phase. We're just launching it. And I want to invite all of you out there to be in on the ground level. Planet InfoWars is about people coming together, forming activist organizations, getting involved politically, hunting and fishing, gardening, dating. This is a place for people who love freedom to meet and to talk and to write and to post information. And I give you this pledge. We are not going to spy on you and sell your data to the New World Order. PlanetInfoWars.com is free, so people who love freedom can get together, connect with people who are awake and know what we're facing. Be active, organize, take action, go viral, create, contribute, resist, because resistance is victory. You are victory. It's waiting for you to breathe power into it. PlanetInfoWars.com. Coming up, we're going to have a week-long opt-out period out of the microwave oven. And, of course, a couple years ago, people had the idea to do this. We got behind it with others, former Congressman Bob Barr, Ron Paul, and others. And it became a big deal. And now everyone started saying, I opt out. So TSA started saying, okay, you're allowed to opt out. Because people were just saying no. And then you educate them about the radiation. I want to create like some factoid blurbs out of newspapers and, the newspaper, the date that it was there. Maybe 5 or 6 quotes, which then when they tell you that the radiation isn't going to hurt you in the new machines, you just hand them the paper. So we need to add that. And I wanted some banners a month ago when we first pushed this up, but I don't think that ever happened or materialized. That's how they were made. So, Paul, you need to make maybe Infowars.com/TSA. In fact, I'll tell the IT guys to do that if you're unable to make that URL, but I think you can as a permanent page. And then we can just have your article with the flyer and all the info right there in one spot. And you can also add at the bottom of the article you're about to publish on the poll a link to the original article. Can we put that article up for people to find out about the opt-out campaign, the one you were showing earlier, Dan? Paul, give us the headline on that so people can search it themselves and find it.
Well, it's Infowars.com/opt-out. The headline is New National Anti-TSA Campaign, Opt-out and Film Week, and I've just posted it in featured news on Infowars, so it's right there at the top. All
right, folks, retweet it. This is an action alert. We're going to beat this together. We're already forcing them to take the high-powered X-rays out and put in the microwave ovens instead. We're going to expose those. Paul, great job. Finish up with the, we'll cover this obviously as it happens, and we're doing this for a week. Give people the date again.
It's November 19 to 26. It's about opting out of the naked body scanners, opting out of the ridiculous obedience training policies, handing out flyers, filming the security procedures. As long as you don't interrupt with them, the TSA's own website says it's fine to do that. Upload your clip to YouTube, send it to the email that's on this Infowars.com/opt-out page, and we're gonna generate massive media attention, just like the 2010 campaign did, and we're going to try and change things for good. This is not a one-time protest. This is about a whole new civil rights movement for the 21st century, and it's just the first shot in that battle.
Well done. And I just love the initiative. You had this idea to kick this back off since no one's done it, and you had the idea to do the national poll. Let's finish up with tell people about the other. Go through all 6 of the questions, then you're going to go off the show. Mike Adams is going to come in, and you're going to publish the big article.
Well, there were 5 questions. The other one was if they're a Democrat or Republican, and funnily enough, in some cases, the Republicans are more willing to accept this kind of stuff. They were more willing to accept the electric shock bracelet, for example. But the other question was, basically, considering the threat posed by terrorists, is it acceptable for the TSA to touch your genitals, which we know they're already doing as part of their policy? So 35% of American adults found it completely or somewhat acceptable for the TSA to be touching their genitals. 65% didn't. But then if you drill down into the actual figures, 12% to 9% Republicans to Democrats were likely to find it completely acceptable. So about more than 1 in 10 Republicans like the fact that the TSA is touching their genitals, and overall 35% find it acceptable. So that was one of the other questions. And then the other one was, is the TSA doing a good job? Which, of course, there was a Gallup poll recently which found that a slim majority thought they were doing a good job. Our poll found that 77% of Americans thought the TSA was doing an excellent, good, or fair job. Most of them are in the middle. They say fair job. 23% of Americans thought the TSA was doing a not very good job or a bad job. But the thing about it is only 9% thought the TSA was doing a bad job.
Yeah, well, that's because of who these polls poll. See, it's all, I mean, they inherently use landlines, and it's mainly only really old ladies that like to get on the phone and talk on a landline. I've looked at the demographics. So really old ladies and people on welfare. And by and large, they just like, I've run into old, they just like to say whatever goes along to get along.
Well, actually, they did a cross spread of ages, so this is everybody.
Really?
It's even more frightening. Because they gave a breakdown where they said that, you got 18 to 35 and the ages kept going up. And actually, I found in a lot of the questions, the young people were more likely to support this kind of stuff.
Well, that shows I'm wrong. I mean, a lot of these polls, they end up going after old folks who they find are more compliant in certain demographics. But I know Harris is very respected. That's why we used him. And wow, so 10% love their slavery. Funny, I can go out on the street and almost everybody I talk to doesn't like the TSA. I know the Texas State House doesn't. They unanimously voted to stop the groping.
Well, it's interesting. When they poll frequent flyers, they always say they hate the TSA. So I guess a lot of people just don't fly, or, they just love being slaves, basically.
When is the article going up at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com?
It's going up in about 10 minutes.
While we fight to retain our liberty, while we fight to expose globalism, we have to realize we're talking about a very powerful combination of power.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen breaks down the globalist plan to shut down America and stage a new world war.
In one day, America will go from day to night. And if you haven't prepared in advance, there's not enough time to prepare in 24 hours, even if you saw it that early.
Coming to the InfoWar in November is our new documentary film presentation.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Joel Skousen, Strategic Relocation.
The freeways are going to be crowded, they're going to run out of gasoline, they're going to run out of food, and then they're going to start to go north and south of those freeways.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states.
Government is digging in for the organized, incremental collapse of society. society and world war.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come. Most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town when any of these nuclear weapons fall, because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy.
What I tell people is that you do have time. Prepare wisely in advance.
This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Eric Holder's announcing, guess what? He's going to stay on now. He was going to leave, but hey, he's going to stay on. Also up at Infowars.com, another front yard garden deemed illegal. Even though there's no law, we don't trust people that grow plants. Globalists pull out all the stops to grab guns after Obama victory. They're announcing it, and they're on CNN. They want to ban all the semi-autos physically. Dianne Feinstein's announced they want physical turn-in. We have all of it proven, but you heard a guy with talking points earlier saying I was crazy and laughing and saying conspiracy theory. You know what? I am crazy like a fox, bub. And you're right. We're gonna beat you. You're not gonna get our guns. So you think you're powerful because you're part of the system. You should be the only one that's allowed to have a gun. Well, think again. So those articles are all up there. Obama continues to wage aggressive war on whistleblowers to protect his secret drone war. Yeah, let's arrest people that legally blow the whistle. That's just more of the, and again, it's that woman, when she called in earlier, if people missed it, she said, we got to re-air that call tomorrow if we have time. She said, your guy lost. My guy lost. I said, it'd be good if folks voted for Romney only because his rhetoric was better when it came to being pro-gun, anti-abortion, things like that, from my view. But I know he's a New World Order. The thing is, they're such chumps. Now, Mike Adams is doing the nightly news tonight, but he's going to throw it to me a couple times, too, because I'm going to do a report where the UN says they want to ban your guns and where Obama has said it. I'm going to get that together for that fella. I showed him some news articles, ABC News saying it, but we're going to show you a bunch with that guy saying I was a liar or crazy. Just to illustrate how these people operate. And then we're going to also do a report on aspartame is in almost all the gum now. And Melissa Melton did a report on one company doing it. Well, why not show them all? So she's going to be in there with me as well. Going to Mike Adams in a moment to give you kind of a little preview of what's coming up tonight. Briefly, Watson, finish up the point. You had a few other points to make. It's Infowars.com/opt-out. So you guys are one step ahead of me. There is a URL. Twitter it out to everybody. It's already got flyers. We're going to put up more flyers about both types of machines giving you cancer. And it's the 19th to the 26th during that key travel time. Even if you hand out 5 of these flyers, like, hey, check this out, sir, or hand it to the TSA, it'll have a huge effect on them. And we're going to exercise our right to film them as well. They lie and say it's the law that you can't when their own sites forced them to admit that it's the law that you can film them. So, Watson, what was the other point you were going to make?
Well, just the fact that if Americans can be convinced through, obedience training to put up with this level of intrusion, they'll accept anything. And another thing is, the people who say, oh, let's just boycott the airlines. Well, that's part of the problem. That's not part of the solution. They're sacrificing the right to mobility as a substitute for the right to privacy and to be treated with dignity. So we shouldn't have to trade one for the other.
Plus, they admit it's a beachhead dog training facility to normalize the criminal activity to roll out nationwide, which has already begun.
Exactly. And I mean, trading one for the other is just a losing strategy. You're going to keep doing that later on down the line. So you can only win by standing up and saying enough is enough. And the people who've done that have helped push back some of these invasive TSA policies. Winning. Of course, the TSA aren't just in airports. They're everywhere. Prom nights, music concerts, subways, bus stations, everywhere. They're spreading everywhere. And, boycotting the airlines is not going to solve it. That's part of the problem, not the solution.
Well articulated, the new civil rights movement, the real civil rights movement, they got us all fighting with each other while we're all losing our liberties. That's the real issue. Find out more at Infowars.com/opt-out. Have we done that for Prison Planet too? PrisonPlanet.com/opt-out. Because whatever we do for Infowars, we do for Prison Planet. So great job, Paul Watson. 10 minutes from now, our big Harris poll, where people say they want proctology exams, electroshock, everything. Unbelievable. That'll be red linked at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, there he goes.